All right. So, Venom. Let there be carnage. So I want to warn you right now, my throat is in a lot of pain. So I'm going to try and keep this as clear and focused as much as I can. I'm trying to give my thoughts while in lots of pain. So my apologies if this is like a little unfocused. Let's see how much I can save this in editing. Let's start off with the synopsis. Venom Let There Be Carnage is the return of a rude dude in the Rude 2. Tom Hardy and his alien roommate, John Symbiote, eponymously named Venom, is essentially up to their latest antics and wild behaviors. So the thing is, in the original film they fought against Elon Musk, but now this time they're fighting against the other spectrum of evil. This Tool, or Henry Lee Lucas, I don't know which one was the muscle. Tom Hardy reprises his role as Eddie Brock, the journalist who everyone says is a maverick, but has largely not really published anything we know of.
I got a headache and probably got tuberculosis.
Eddie apparently is working on a biographical of Cletus Cassidy, played by Woody Harrelson, a serial killer who makes him an offer. Print a cryptic text, and I'll tell you where the bodies are.
Distant cathedral is all I see.
And then it kind of like happens. However, just when Cletus is about to be killed by lethal injection, he bites Eddie and becomes Carnage. It turns out Cletus's backstory is sad. He was separated from his childhood love, his Wasanana Jimmy, Francis, who's got the Sindel-style shrieking powers, and in exchange for killing Eddie and Venom, Carnage, the symbiote in Cletus, is going to help them get out. Meanwhile, Eddie and Venom have a breakup, and the honeymoon phase is over, and now they're going their separate ways. It's kind of a whole bunch of things at the same time.
My kind of people.
Cletus frees Francis, and in the process, they cause a lot of carnage. Eddie tells Anne, his ex-fiancée, that Venom's out there. They reunite, and together they go off to stop Cletus and Francis, who, I guess, want to get married at Grace Cathedral. In the process, Eddie and Venom kill Francis, and they go out on the run. Oh, I had a lot of fun with the original Venom. Watching Tom Hardy learn how to coexist with alien goop is a good bit, especially since in a character setting way, it was pretty low-key. What drew me to the original Venom was that it's pretty straightforward in its adherence to its character motivations. While Tom Hardy is like a hard-hitting journalist who wants to do things right, Venom's got a lot more upfront motivation. You know, he's cool here.
Remind you of something, Eddie. You were a loser before I came along. You were nothing. I made you special.
And so, like, the alien's got the most human motivations, but that novelty kind of shaves away with Venom Let There Be Carnage, because you can't just have Tom Hardy show up and do the I'm a loser, but I'm here and sick kind of thing. You need to have some sort of other thing, some sort of other motivation, and that leads to Carnage. I remember Carnage as a kid on those like old Super Nintendo cartridges. Like, that dude was sick, but I didn't know anything about him. And now that I'm here, this age, he's like cool, but one of the difficulties of these kind of movies is because I don't know what kind of personality you're supposed to give angry goop alien to differentiate one angry goop alien from another angry goop alien. The answer, of course, is, you know, I guess to go with color, but it's also something you spend lots of issues fleshing out, and here it's not really just done particularly well. While I understand that Cletus Cassidy was originally a serial killer, I don't get why he needs to be a serial killer here. He doesn't really do anything that leans on his character trait as a serial killer. He's not particularly charismatic or sociopathic. When he gets out, he's not like stalking the streets, serial killer fashion movie style. He just goes off and causes carnage. Cletus the criminal and Cletus the serial killer don't seem to be that different. And maybe it's because There's some great symbiote with him and Carnage and whatnot, but Venom already likes eating poor people, so it's not that big of a jump.
You said I could eat bad guys.
Just makes him a ruder dude. And it's represented in these cartoons that are a lot more whimsical, I feel, than they're supposed to, intended to be. So when it gets translated into like the movies, it's a little off, which is weird because this is not the first time Woody Harrelson's played a rude dude. He's done this in Natural Born Killers, but in Natural Born Killers, he plays a character with a fully formed pathos and whatnot. In Venom, Let There Be Carnage, he only seems interested in two things: reuniting with his lover and Carnage. And Frances is like, okay, but she's not that compelling in terms of a character. She's mainly been on the defensive, so she's not been given that much time to cook. And as a result, she emerges from her glass cocoon. She goes on a rampage, causing carnage. But the problem with that situation is that she's a pretty reactive character. We know her based on the scars she bears from the experiences she's had, but we haven't had that much time to digest it. So when she goes on a rampage, along with Woody Harrelson, it feels like a jacked up supervillain version of Natural Born Killers, but in that movie, there's ebbs and flows of brutality. But here, it's just one long, formless thread of brutality, which, for the most part, is always seen in retrospective. We're always trying to chase them. But the thing here is, and this should be cautioned, these are movies meant to be fun, right? Like, these are not meant to be nitpicked like a dork or anything. So if the question is it fun? Because the core conceit of the original Venom was that it's a lot of fun. Tom Hardy gets gooped, he eats a bunch of people, and fights Elon Musk on a spaceship. Okay, that's cool. And there's some social commentary there about tech bros killing homeless people, which I can't figure out, but hey, you know, it's a fun film. In Venom, Let There Be Carnage, it's fun sometimes. It's a pretty clear film, all things considered, and it has a lot of love of these bombastic set pieces. It requires a lot of the familiar spaces from the original Venom, so it keeps that familiarity. And I think its cast of characters is actually quite small. I thought the movie was okay. It's fun. The movie is fun.
The hottest and you're the bravest.
I am.
No, I'm still standing right here.
No one likes you, Dad.
Yeah. I think that's really all I got about that movie.